patience. We're going to get down. We're going to express ourselves. If you want to join in, this is Thomas Jefferson's Dance Party Day across the USA.
I'm minding my own business, and I'm making you smile right now. So what's up with dancing?
Is that what happens? A man gets attacked in the Capitol building and
Chuck Taylors.
Jack Blood.
No Nikes for us. Hey, man. What's going on?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
This bill, just like a poker game, will call Rick Perry's hand on states' rights, whether or not he's going to stand up to the federal government or not. This bill has been passed by the House and Senate. That monument down there to the Confederacy acknowledges states' rights, so he needs to lay his cards on the table or fold.
And passed the House unanimously. 100% of the House of Representatives, the People's House here in Texas, supported that bill. Yeah! There's a lot of good reason. Of course, they're trying to tell us that they need to keep us safe from terrorists. But if you ask me, it seems like the federal agents are the only ones doing the terrorizing these days.
What I went through was wrong. And nobody deserves to go through that. Nobody deserves to have their hands, or another person's hands, in my tights, and feel around myself, to feel my vagina, to feel my breasts, and then to swab me for bomb residue and make me wait 15 minutes behind a closed door where I'm shaking and hoping to God that nothing bad happens to me. And I'm shaking right now because I just get angry about it. I get angry that people aren't upset about this. I get angry when I tell people about what I went through that they say you have the option to drive. That's right. No, that is not an option. Respect the Fourth Amendment. Respect me. Respect humanity. And respect ethics, for God's sakes. Thank you. Because if they don't tell Perry they want it on the floor, Governor Perry's not going to put it on the floor. Right. Take it to the floor.
Take it to the floor. Take it to the floor. Take it to the floor. Take it to the floor. Take it to the floor.
We were both taunted by the supervisor of the TSA as he laughed at me and ridiculed me for simply saying I didn't want to go through the body scanner.
Dude, punch him in there.
About 6 months later, we flew out to California. I was a speaker at an event, and I stood there and I said, I am making a choice today that I will never again allow myself to be subjected to such disgusting abuses of power. Oh, the irony. On our way home, as I was about 1 foot from the metal detector, a lady grabbed my arm and told me the computers had selected me and I needed to go through the body scanner.
I selected the computer.
Sure. At this point in time, I was only about 6 weeks pregnant. I didn't look it. And I stood there. John had already gone through. And I asked the people in line behind me, is someone going to stand up for me? I'm trying to go home. Will somebody please stand up and speak up for me?
So Rick Perry, will you side with Caligula or will you side with the people? That our moms, our daughters, our sons, our grannies can be physically accosted under the guise of national security. And all that means is national control. Security is another word for control. It is an illusion. There's no such thing as security, folks. Rick Perry, will you side with INGSOC or will you side with the people? So we are here today, we dare to be here today to redress our grievances. Life, liberty, and property. Get your hands off of it. Freedom is the answer. It doesn't matter what the question is, folks. And when people ask you, and they go, well, I have a different definition of freedom than you. Life, liberty, and property. That's what you tell them. I'm not going to mess with yours. You're not going to mess with mine. This is a free country. I love this country. I love Texas. Now, earlier, there was a little bit of a division here because we've got to be united on profiling. I happen to believe, and this is my personal opinion, that a lot of this is a problem to get a reaction to give us the solution of complete profiling of everybody. And it's not just going to be Muslims. It's not just going to be the alleged terrorists. It's going to be everybody. There's going to be no flyless. There's going to be no workless. There's going to be no foodless unless you have your little biometric passport, which they're discussing right now in the District of Criminals under the Obama administration. And Republicans, Democrats, they're all going for it. Hey, do you owe a little money? You can't fly. You can't rent. You can't buy. And that is what total profiling means. And right now they have a registered traveler program. If you want to submit to this biometric prison, you can sign up. You can go in. They can have your iris scan, your thumbprints, your full biometrics. Is that what we want this country to be?
I am so thankful for what all of y'all are doing. We are not alone. And I am not alone in the Texas House. 94 other House members co-authored HB 1937. That bill, several weeks ago, passed out of the House on second and third reading unanimously. Then the bill went to the Senate, and Senator Patrick stood up, as he promised to do so, and sponsored that legislation, and nearly got a unanimous support for that bill among the 31 senators. And then, after 3 months, at the 11th hour, a couple of TSA agents showed up to lobby the Texas legislature. Snakes! TSA out of Texas! Did the TSA show up? But at the 11th hour, the Department of Justice sent an inaccurate letter full of falsehoods, threatening a no-fly zone if this legislation was enacted. That is right. This is a moment.
That's right.
175 years ago at Gonzales, a government that had gone astray and revoked the Constitution came to get a little cannon that was given to the citizens, the peaceful citizens of Gonzales, to protect themselves from the terrorists of those days. They came to take that gun, their self-defense, from them.
No!
And we told them, come and take it! Perpetrators loved freedom.
Yes!
They loved their safety, but they loved freedom more than security. And they wouldn't give up their security and their safety, their freedom in the name of security. That's how we won our independence, and that's how we're going to keep it.
Republic of Texas!
I appreciate that sentiment, but I'm with Sam Houston. Sam Houston opposed secession.
He didn't oppose secession from Mexico. Get the fans out! We don't need to secede. Fans out!
The way we're going to keep our freedom is by peacefully, reasonably, not giving in to bullies.
What our Senate just did.
We need to say no to the TSA. We need to say that it is not a criminal act to access a public building or to fly. We are being treated like criminal suspects. Touching our private parts is being made a condition of travel. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. That's right. I filed this week, along with Senator Patrick, HB 41 and Senate Bill 29, which is essentially House Bill 1937 of the regular session. And the Lieutenant Governor has called upon the Governor Perry to add this legislation to the special session.
Demand that!
I don't know what is much more critical and emergency right now than protecting our grandmothers, protecting Iraqi war veterans who are having to explain why their prosthetic limb, which they fought fighting terrorists in Iraq, doesn't have explosives in it. This is important to protect our infants whose diapers are being removed and their private parts being examined. Where is the Texas that Sam Houston governed and fought for?
It's Miles Lewis of PSI-OP radio fame. Give us your capsule summary of what we just saw there on the Texas State Capitol grounds.
We just saw an incredibly diverse crowd of people from all political stripes coming together and standing elbow to elbow in defense of liberty and the Fourth Amendment. And we got a long week ahead of us to try to convince these representatives that it's the right thing to do to protect our civil liberties and to not infringe on our freedom to travel with dignity.